The Grand National Series playoff hunt begins in the Lone Star State. Welcome to the Texas Motor Speedway live on FTN. It's a return to points-paying racing, race number 11 on the season, and SNT competition is getting even more intense than ever before. The Grand National Series enters its first ever championship chase. Top seed Jordan Kuntz won the All-Star Clash, and as such now we're moving on to our qualifying where drivers are taking times here in Texas. Kenneth Garrell finds himself on the provisional pole, and he's going to be there over Jordan Kuntz. Looks like Kuntz going to have a big issue with his lap, and he's going to be done and done. Jackson Van Pelt going to be backing it down, and for tonight it's going to be one lap qualifying. So a one-and-done system for the first time in the Impact Sim Designs 150. You're going to see that everyone's marked in P's tonight. The reason being that they're going to be directed upon playoff instructions because their points have been changed and their names of the session have been changed as well. However, we'll direct all the action and make sure you know who's who. We're looking at Vinny Tigner right now as Alec Daffin goes to the top of the board with a 29.026. It's Alec currently fastest and Vinny Tigner coming across the stretch this time by down to the start finish line. It looks like advantage to Tigner. He's going to move up into third, 10 thousandths of a second right behind the driver, the number 48, only for Jackson Van Pelt to split the difference. And now Chris Tripp going to be in 8th. It looks like now the number 77 of Tyler Seabear is going to be in 9th. Still taking the time right now, Rick Spencer-Walt, Trey Holmes, Kyle Jackson, and rookie David Tooker in the number 16. 2 minutes remaining in what has to be our most unique qualifying session of the season as we see one-and-done procedure for the very first time. Rick Spencer-Walt right now coming across the back straightaway in his number 31, and this Toyota Supra just moments away from reaching the stripe. Looks like for Trey Holmes, his lap is already over, and he will not put a time down. Matthew Weeks also going to be on the circuit, and for Matthew, still some more time for him as Rick Spencer-Walt going to go sliding, and his lap will end prematurely. Now the 77, Tyler having a very good opportunity to jump inside the top 10 with just a serviceable lap at the line. That lap will be good for 9th. So up front, there goes the 77. Rick Spencer-Walt qualifying run is over, and it looks like Matthew Weeks has just begun. He'll be the final driver to take a lap here. James Bowden and Roger Seaver have chosen not to get on the circuit, and now it's going to be Matthew Weeks, the last man standing in the session. Maybe a chance to go up to the front of the board here. That remains to be seen as we've got 1 minute left. Some especially quick qualifying procedure given this brand new format. The round of 12, so 12 drivers are eligible for the championship race, and right now of your top 12 in qualifying, 11 of which are in the playoffs. It's only David Tooker, the outlier, as we speak. James Bowden, who's in the playoff system, has not taken a lap. Matthew Weeks just got on. He's also locked in, and with the exception of Jordan Kuntz and Vinny Tigner, everyone is tied for third. The reason being, well, Vinny has 1 win, Jordan Kuntz has 5, so they have bonus points, getting approximately 5 points per win. At the line here, it's going to be Matthew Weeks done with his qualifying run. That will move Matthew up to the pole position, a 28.997. Fastest time, the last time set, and Matthew Weeks will win the pole in the final lap of qualifying. Weeks is going to move up all the way to the top in just 1 lap, and qualifying has concluded for the Impact Sim Designs 150. What a lap that was for Matthew Weeks, a 28.997. And just to reiterate, that is the only driver in this entire session to break under the 29-second barrier, and he does so in a one-and-done qualifying stint. Great job there for the number 11 machine. Looking at race results, they are still unfinished. We'll come back to those in 100 laps. Here's how the race will start. Matthew Weeks at the top of the board in his number 11, a 28.8 .997. Top time with Alec Daffin then in second, and he's going to be runner-up with David Tooker, the rookie, starting in third. Jackson Van Pelt is qualified in fourth with a 29.156 and 10 thousandths of a second behind is Vinny Tigner, rounding out the top five. Kenneth Gurrell sixth, and Connor Asbell in seventh, with Jordan Kuntz then eighth, and Kyle Jackson in ninth. To round out the top 10, it'll be Tyler Seaver then in 10th with a 29.693, and then from there you got the final drivers who took times. Henry Kaloff in 11th, and Chris Tripp, who's going to be there in 12th with a 30.7 flats. Four other drivers going to register for today's race. Trey Holmes in 13th, Rick Spencer-Walt in 14th, James Bowden, he's going to be the only playoff driver not to set a lap here, and Roger Seaver. Just like that, your 16-driver grid, top to bottom, we've taken a look at it, and that's how the field will line up for the Impact Sim Designs 150. Warm-up still on the way here with 3.5 minutes of drivers getting ready to go at it here in Texas. Now as the field is going to get themselves set up for the remainder of the night. 100 laps at a very quick circuit. If you see the way these drivers are running, they're under the 30-second barrier, and that's because this is a bit of a different package at Texas, not caused by the car, but instead by the track. We're using the 2008 configuration of Texas, so before the applying of the TJ1, which is used currently, it's a slightly different looking track, still the same location and length, but it drives differently. It drives much more like an older intermediate. It's not going to have a brand new repave, not going to have any new tools like resin or PJ1 as we mentioned, and instead going to be a little bit more similar in a way to Atlanta. Perhaps you could compare it closely to the old Atlanta, which got to wear out for several more decades. But Texas is an opportunity to go back to the very original pavement this track had, stemming back to 1996 when the circuit was first opened for NASCAR Cup Series competition. It's an older feeling, but it's a better feeling for a lot of these drivers. The way that Texas is run currently on iRacing replicates it in a lot of ways back to how it is in the real world. And since the PJ1 has been applied, it's very tricky to run multiple grooves. Usually you only have one line, which is supreme, and that is the bottom side. However, here with relatively even wear overall, you're going to have the top side being used, the bottom side being used, and the middle in between. And that's going to be the beauty of modern Texas that's lacked. It's classic Texas that has it. You can go wherever you need to go and still find success. As it stands, it looks like Trey Holmes is going to be the quickest in this session over four other drivers who have taken times. It looks like four of which are championship contenders: Kenneth Gurrell, Jackson Van Pelt, Chris Tripp, and Tyler Seaver there. So just about everyone who's taken to the track in this session is a title contender, save for Trey Holmes, the part-timer who kicked off his career just a few weeks ago at Charlotte. Holmes, he's been quick, just has not been able to get it through the first half of a race just yet, and that has been the big Achilles heel, just the results lap after lap. Has a lot of speed, but sometimes just can't hold it together, and we gotta see whether or not that number 5 has what it takes. Henry Kaloff, one of the drivers in this playoff standing, starting outside the top 10, going to be a disadvantage, of course. However, for a driver who came through in the Final Four last season, a chance to back it up in this final stint and maybe go for a victory. We'll see what he can do as the race goes on. As it stands, though, it's still going to be advantage Trey Holmes with 48 seconds remaining, and this session going to come to a close very soon. We'll have green flag action started by just about 8 o'clock Eastern, and we'll go racing for 100 laps or 150 miles, expecting most likely a two-stop strategy the way things are looking. 50, then 100. Two-stop would be if there is a caution, so it could be one stop under green, but that's only if we do indeed go all the way. Right now, though, looks like Jackson Van Pelt and Tyler Seaver are the only drivers who are getting their laps in, and leaves the rest of the field set up for the starting grid. At the top of the board, in second practice, Trey Holmes is going to go quickest, and the fastest driver in our warm-ups is the number 5. Qualifying has concluded, practice is over, and now we are just moments away from hitting the starting grid for the first time here in Texas. The last time we went to Texas Motor Speedway in this league, it was Season 4 of the Truck Series at the modern Texas configuration. It's been a while, and we've never seen it with these Xfinity cars. So the Grand National Series is going to be treated to quite the surprise tonight, unlike anything else we've done before. And you can see the grid lining up here. And once again, for you looking at the top of the screen, any driver marked in P is in the playoffs, and unfortunately for tonight we won't have their names on the screen, but we'll get that taken care of for the next week, as well as Matthew Weeks and Alec Daffin are your front row. Weeks is already lined up. He's right behind the iRacing pace car. Alec Daffin, the man we're waiting for, up in front. Then you have, of course, many of our playoff veterans here. Connor Asbell, who's done great this season so far. Kuntz, the 5-time winner, is starting in 8th, not the spot he'd like to be in. Michigan race winner in Vinny Tigner is going to find himself up in the top 5. No other winners this season in the full-time category besides Kuntz and Vinny Tigner. It's quite the surprise, that's for certain. We've had other winners. Talladega had a one-time only winner. Las Vegas, a one-time only winner as well. We've had other drivers come to victory lane. However, they have been one-duns for the most part. River Page at Charlotte. You saw Thurston at Vegas. That's another example. It seems like this season it's been all about Jordan Kuntz. Vinny Tigner stealing the spotlight just a bit, but overall, maybe looking for win number 6 after the All-Star victory that he also collected. Seems like that number 5 team is going to be Trey Holmes this season. The Jordan Kuntz crew switching to the number 99, and they have done no wrong ever since. Waiting now for third place starter David Tooker. Tooker's very first race in this league, and lighten up the qualifying charts to get up in the 3rd, and there he is. We are now moments away from pushing it out of neutral, get the iRacing pace car on the move, rolling back to the start-finish line for our first green flag lap here in the Impact Sim Designs 150. Entire field now on the move. We'd once again like to thank our partner at Impact Sim Designs for covering tonight's event. Impact Sim Designs designed the fantastic SNT logo, which you're going to see on your screen right about now. And there it is. They designed our fantastic logo for this series and the league itself, and we thank them dearly for their continued support of Saturday Night Thunder and the Grand National Series. Of course, if you are a fan of the work that we're showing on screen, check out Impact Sim Designs on all social media platforms, and we're going to be bringing you all the action uninterrupted tonight, courtesy of our friends at Impact Sim Designs. Matthew Weeks, multi-time winner in seasons past, a veteran of this league for years and years running, now looking for an opportunity to chase the checkered flag once again and collect another W here in Texas. Alec Daffin on the high side, who's been able to make his way into the playoffs as one of the bottom seeds. Last time he was a bottom seed going into Texas, he took control. That was in the Integrity Ignite Series, and he won that championship. Coming to the green flag this time by Weeks on the low side, gets the jump and brings us back to the start-finish line. Green flags out here in Texas. Welcome to the SNT playoffs. At the line, going to be Alec Daffin going down to the bottom side on leader Matthew Weeks. And already going to be a scuffle for position here. The 48 going to take that top spot. And Weeks moves back into second. So early moving up from the front of the field. You can see a first pack of about 7 get away, going back to Kenneth Gorell. Then you're going to see the 77 of Tyler Seaver there, and Chris Tripp, Connor Asbell working with each other side by side. The leaders break through, however, and now there's already passes being made. Jordan Kuntz looking on the back bumper of Vinny Tigner. That's going to be for 5th, and Tigner up there, rolling well. He's got Jackson Van Pelt ahead, and rookie of David Tooker staying in the mix himself. So it's a very small pack of drivers who have been able to make it up here already, and they're fighting each other through and through. Down to the bottom side, there goes Vinny Tigner. He's going to decide to take it low early and try to make that pass right around the 0-7. Van Pelt not going to make it easy, and at the line, it looks like Jackson still holds control. Right up high, you can see him going there in the Shaw Racing number 99 all over again. And now that Ford Mustang pushing down the backstretch. Looks like he's going to now swap down low, and it's a quick move right under for the Ford Mustang. Just like that, the 99 for Shaw Racing just makes it through again. That's fourth for the driver there in Jordan Kuntz. David Tooker going to be in third, Matthew Weeks in second, and Alec Daffin going to be in first. 1, 2, 3, 4, separated now by just about 0.6 of a second. Going back now to Jordan Kuntz, who's running just outside of the podium. He's made it up just about 4 spots to this point, and has a few more to go as this race progresses. Jordan Kuntz, a 5-time winner already this season. I think at this rate, it is victory or failure for this crew. However, it doesn't chance it's going to be stripped away. Of course, last time we saw Jordan Kuntz lose in points-paying competition, River Page. However, we've seen other drivers come in on a one-and-done basis, and maybe David Tooker is that driver once again. Last time we saw a driver, a former veteran of this series, and Luke Peters. He got it done at the Homestead Miami Speedway. James Thurston, we've mentioned him before as he got the second win of the season. Anyway, that's going to be broken up, this streak of Kuntz victories. It most likely comes in the hands of a driver we've never seen before. And that tonight might just be David Tooker there in the number 16, working down and into corners 1 and 2. David going to be right behind Matthew Weeks as Alec Daffin begins to pull away more and more. One driver in trouble looks to be the number 77 right up top. Tyler's in trouble here, and it looks like contact for the 77 crew. Like that, back to the tail end of the field. Bad news for Tyler Seaver. It looks like now he's coming down and in pit road early, and no caution to bail him out, at least now. Up in front, you look at it again. There's Matthew Weeks just ahead of David Tooker, and might be Jordan Kuntz now making up that time and looking to take a pass. Jordan finds himself about 1.5 tenths away, within a good distance to start setting himself up, but not quite there to overall make the pass work. So we'll see what Jordan can do here as he comes off the final corner yet again. Right on board now with the number 99, and we'll see exactly what it's like from on board this Chevy Camaro of David Tooker. You see ahead of him, it's the Ford Mustang and Jordan Kuntz now getting even closer into 1 and 2. Kuntz brushes up with the wall just slightly, now goes up to the middle side for a nice run down to the bottom, getting under David Tooker, and it's going to be side by side at the line at advantage. Still looks to be in the hands of David Tooker into 1, but Jordan Kuntz decides to send it deep, and the 16, no qualms with it. He's going to go right behind and give the 99 the 3rd spot. So Matthew Weeks now going to find himself being chased down by the most successful driver in this league, and of course, always intimidating to see that 99 in the back bumper in the rearview mirror as well. Gotta wonder what it's going to be like now, as Weeks might be the only thing separating Jordan Kuntz from another victory. Alec Daffin getting the opportunity to spread his lead further and further out. It's a 0.6 of a second gap right now, and still gaining. All the while, Matthew Weeks losing time to your leader and our 3rd place driver here. Better watch out, as Matthew Weeks now might be passed as well. It looks like 2 passes in 2 laps. Jordan Kuntz up to 2nd, and another quick move. Runner-up spot, there goes Jordan, as he will take it right by and go side by side with the driver in that number 11. And Matthew Weeks decides he won't make it easy either, and he's dropped right down low, but it's not enough. Rounding the final corners of the first set, turns 1 and 2, he gets out of 2 nicely. Jordan Kuntz moves up in a 2nd, and that looks to be for certain. Take a look further back right now, and you will also see Henry Kaloff battling with Chris Tripp. This is the fight for 10th. Looks like Henry Kaloff has the spot right now, and Chris Tripp there in the 11th, still gaining, but hasn't quite gotten there just yet, as Rick Spencer Walt is also ahead. All 16 drivers who started this race are still going. Looks like now Tyler going to get back on the track. A little bit of damage, and he's now 5 laps down. So we'll see whether or not he has a chance to get back to the lead lap as the race goes on. Already, Alec Daffin with the lead, but it might just get a little shorter as the gap is now exactly half a second once again. At the line for Alec Daffin, he was about 0.006 of a second faster, quicker, not by all too much. So we'll see what Jordan Kuntz can do now as he gets in front of a train of drivers on the inside line. Looks like most drivers are running low if they're alone. And Trey Holmes, right there. You see Chris Tripp came off the corner just about the exact same way. Now Henry Kaloff is going to force that 31 up top. Looks like right now, Rick Spencer-Walt going to let Henry Kaloff by. Henry is up into 9th. Now looking maybe to make a spot up here as coming through. There's Connor Asbell, who finds himself 1 position ahead there in the 8th spot. Kaloff gets by Spencer-Walt. But it looks like for Rick Spencer-Walt, he's going to try to fight back at the high side, get momentum off the corner, and you can see catching right back up. Maybe a chance the 31 would dive down low. Kaloff instead decides to beat him to it. That's the block he needs, which pulls him back into the lead. At the line again for Alec Daffin. He was just about 0.08 of a second slower at the most. So now it looks like Jordan Kuntz is starting to reel him back in. 16 laps out of 100. It is the tale of 2 races. 50 lap sprints, if you really want to call it 2 races here. The pit cycles make all the difference in a race where it looks like it's going to be dominated entirely by strategy. We've seen a lot of these 1 caution, 2 caution, maybe even a no caution race once again in SNT. And that's been the name of the game for the majority this series in this GNS era. Not a lot of trouble, all coming down to driver's skill, and right now it all comes down to who's got it the best here in Texas. Kuntz looks quick, but Alec Daffin got the advantage, of course, with that track position. Matthew Weeks is going to remain just behind the number 99, so maybe instead of wearing his stuff out, he's letting Jordan Kuntz get to work, so he follow thereafter. Maybe that's the best way to go about it here, because you see, then there's Matthew Weeks with David Tooker, with Jackson Van Pelt, with Vinny Tigner. We're all chasing Jordan Kuntz, and the man who's, of course, punching the hole in the air for the rest of these guys in the field. And it's going to be a lot more challenging for Kuntz here as he runs down the back straightaway, hopefully for an opportunity to dive in deep 1 lap from now until the end of the race, slide under Alec Daffin, and take that lead and make sure he is clear. As they come across the line again, lead has been cut in half. It's now within 0.2 of a second. So it looks like now surely Jordan Kuntz is in a good rhythm, and he might be able to pull it home. The way he's going at it so far, he's been able to keep himself very successful at the tire strategy game in all of his seasons of competition. And the early going of this race, when everyone is on a level playing field, that is exactly what's propelled him up to the top of the board. Jordan Kuntz now going to be just behind Alec Daffin and getting even closer as they come across the stripe again. Take a look from the back end of Alec Daffin. The 48 definitely in jeopardy here. Alec Daffin working as hard as he can to keep things up in front, and since this is, of course, Texas Motor Speedway, the inside line, no matter whether or not you can go multi-groove, does still have some of that dominance to it. Last time by was a 30.4 for both leading drivers. It's now 30.5, so tire wear is definitely coming into play, and now both drivers are slowing down just a bit more. The fastest laps in this race are all in the 29 bracket, so they're within 1 second of their fastest time. However, looks like they're going to get slower and slower and maybe drop down into the 32s by the time this race is over. So we're about 1/5 of the way there in the early running, and it's going to come down to whether or not they can keep it clean from there to really see who's got it as Jordan Kuntz goes up high and might be jeopardy for his chance at the lead. Matthew Weeks sends the 99 topside, and now the number 11 leads the charge with David Tooker down low as well. Side by side, Alec Daffin now going to move right up in front with a little less to worry about as Matthew Weeks takes control. And if this all slows down Jordan Kuntz, it might slow down Weeks and the like, which gives Alec Daffin further reason to run away with the current race lead at at the line again. It looks like for Alec Daffin, he's going to just slightly give himself a little more time to keep stuff advantageous, but Holston is coming back now with a vengeance, and he's got a chance to make it by Daffin in just a few laps. David Tooker side by side now with Vinny Tigner. No longer, it's now Jordan Kuntz who makes it ahead of him. Kuntz back in third, Weeks in second, and getting closer. Alec Daffin defending number 11 as we speak. Matthew Weeks has gotten closer and closer just about every lap, and he let Jordan Kuntz do a lot of the work, but now that he's reeled in, it's going to be the number 11 trying to ride down the back straightaway in succession with your overall top driver. Alec Daffin going to nicely down and in, working to the low side. It looks like Alec Daffin just a little bit higher, maybe an inch or two off of the same groove, and that could be all the difference right now. Daffin trying to look for some more momentum. Coming into turn one, Matthew Weeks with an opportunity to dive low. He thinks better of it and stays right behind. Side by side, 25 laps in out of 100. You're seeing it still for third, David Tooker and Jordan Kuntz. As both drivers work down the stretch, it looks like Tooker now with the advantage as Matthew Weeks looks down low. Now Alec Daffin getting in a completely distinct groove, trying to shut the door again. That he does. Weeks now knows he's got an opportunity. Tries to look a little bit lower into 1 and 2. Cuts a little bit deeper through the apron. Decides to look a little further back before setting himself up once again. Weeks, he is there, and you can see the way he's working the wheel right now as you ride on board. Very minor movements to keep himself at the absolute maximum speed he can deliver. And it's clear he's working close as he can to perfection. Matthew Perry in the chat, thank you for stopping by. Great to have you here, and we're getting things going for the very first time in this event. Matthew Weeks now going to be down to the low side. There goes the number 11, new race leader. It is Weeks. So now the number 11 with the advantage up ahead. It's going to be Alec Daffin in second and David Tooker in third. 1-2-3 combo going to shift up just a bit with Vinny Tigner and Jordan Kuntz running fourth and fifth now. So 27 laps in out of 100. Vinny getting right behind Kuntz no longer. He gets past the number 99. A little bit of a shift there for Kuntz, and it looks like he's going in the wrong direction. So perhaps for Jordan Kuntz, not really having the strength right now ever since getting moved by your new race leader in Matthew Weeks. Looks like as it stands, Weeks is the man up ahead, and he's got full control at least for now. Good place to be for the number 11. Matthew Weeks advantageous now with 3.5 tenths to spare. Alec Daffin seeing David Tooker in the rearview mirror, and it looks like for Tooker, he is holding himself firm to the inside line, and he has not let go. He's in the podium right now, which would be a great start, of course, on debut, with the potential of some drivers that we have not seen all too often. Of course, this season we have some drivers coming in for their first ever races, like Trey Holmes and the like. Holmes just made it by Kenneth Grell, matter of fact, and that's going to be the move for 10th. David Tooker, he is up there, and he might just go for his very first win on his opening night. Going down to the inside here with Alec Daffin. He's going to send that 48 up top, and when you're high, it's very hard to come down back to earth. So, for Tooker, what's he going to do about that? I think he's just going to pin him there and make sure he stays high until the job is done. Keeping the inside groove. There's number 16, working nice and easy into the corner and out of it as well. Tooker still side by side, and Vinny Tigner's got the best seat in the house. Take a look on board as Vinny watches the battle. Trouble might be trouble for Kenneth Grell, the number 57, down into the pit road. Doesn't look like a scheduled stop the way he came in. However, the 57, no damage, so Grell's going to keep on moving. Luckily, nothing too dangerous for him, but he's going to lose an awful lot of track position as he decides to come into pit road and make his first stop of the day. Leaders are flying by, and there goes Matthew Weeks, but Kenneth Grell, the first man in the pit road, and now we're just a few laps away from seeing strategy pit stops here in the Lone Star State. Right on board once again, this time with Jordan Kuntz as he lies right behind the Daffin and Tigner battle. Now the Shaw Racing number 48 going to be pushed further back, and you see Jordan Kuntz finds himself now up into 4th, coming down the back straightaway once again. Daffin now going to be the final man inside the top 5 as David Tooker is looking to get that lead from Matthew Weeks. That time by Tooker and Weeks were just about identical on pace though, so it looks like there's not much difference between the both of them. And as they come across the stripe one more time, it looks like Tooker is still a few hundredths off, but still not much a major difference. 34 laps in out of 100 so far, and it looks like a few other battles going to brew. Connor Asbell going up to the high side, and Rick Spencer Walt right down low. Goes to number 72, Spencer Walt right up top, rolling down the backstretch once again. It looks like now Rick going to make it in the single digits as they both try to chase down Trey Holmes. One driver who's made a lot of positive moves tonight, Henry Kaloff, did not start where he wanted to. Matter of fact, started in 11th, so not at all where he'd like to be, given the fact he is a playoff driver. However, he's made it up into 7th so far, and even if this number 63 team has shown its struggles today, they've bounced back for now a very commendable effort, and knowing that the drivers ahead are still just about in reach. Maybe a second out is Jackson Van Pelt or Alec Daffin. Henry Kaloff might have the pace to get back up there and fight with the bottom half of the top 5, which is still just about running the same laps that he is, if not slightly quicker admittedly. So we'll see what Kaloff can do as he tries to chase down Jackson Van Pelt and the like. Now Alec Daffin going to be losing a little bit more time. You see him there about 3/10 off of Jordan Kuntz. Kuntz now going to find himself just few moments away from Vinny Tigner's clutches, and see whether or not Vinny Tigner gets up to David Tooker here as another battle is going to get rolling. It's the number 12 of Vinny Tigner and the 16 of David Tooker running each other very, very close for a while there for second, but no longer, as it looks like now Tooker with the edge. Further on back in the field, Kyle Jackson with Chris Schlick and Roger Seaver there too, and side by side down to the inside with the lap machine. That is going to be, it looks like, the 57 of Kenneth Gorell. And as Kenneth goes low, he's definitely got a lot of speed, given the fact he's got new Goodyear rubber working down in him. You'll see that number 57 easily cut right by the back half of the lead lap. That's simply because he has that new set of Goodyear Eagles and a very fast motion up in front there. Gorell's going to get right by. All the while, the battle still rages on, but it's still going to be Kyle Jackson with the advantage for 13. Looking down to the inside, no longer. It looks like now Tyler's going to be far out of the picture, but Roger Seaver goes high. Kyle Jackson goes up to the middle groove himself. 38 laps in out of 100 so far, and as the leaders are going to come across the stripe again, we are now just about 10 laps away from our first pit cycle. I'd be shocked to see drivers coming right now, maybe a little bit later, perhaps 2 or 3 laps until we get things going, but it's going to be an onslaught of drivers coming down to pit road, given the fact, of course, we're coming up to halfway. There's no way for the drivers to make it for 100 laps on a stint. 50 laps is reasonable. It can be done, and of course, it's an opportunity to split this race even and not have to worry about strategy at all. Coming through this time by, it's going to be the number 11 of Matthew Weeks ahead by 6/10. Battles in the back of the field persist. Rick Spencer Walt now there with Henry Kaloff. Kaloff going to be in 8th as it stands, and a little bit of blinking back and forth for Trey Holmes and Jackson Van Pelt. That's why the positions have also shuffled. Spencer Walt gets the back bumper here of Kaloff. Could be a move to put the 63 back down in 9th as Rick Spencer Walt goes down low. All of a sudden, maybe Henry wearing out his tires a little bit too much as he was on a very quick charge up. He might be coming right back down, and we'll see if he can hold on to any of those spots he took, if it's going to be a continuous drop down to the bottom side. Be there, Rick Spencer Walt trying to get a move, trying to get some distance closed in, and now he'll go right down under. 41 laps in, it's a move through for Rick Spencer Walt. Nice move there, and he has got himself another pass. Quick move there for the number 31. Spencer Walt up to 8th, and Alec Daffin now trying to chase down Jordan Kuntz once again. Gotta wonder, what can Alec Daffin do with just about a few tenths of a second separating him and that number 99. As it stands, it looks like Jordan Kuntz has been able to hold on successfully in fourth, but not much else. He's definitely not been gaining on the drivers who are ahead of him at least any longer, as Vinny Tigner got up inside of the podium, and David Tooker, he was able to get second, and he has kept it ever since. No worries for the both of them. Now the question really becomes whether or not the pit strategies make much a difference. That will be the be-all, end-all for the rest of the night, and with a quarter of a second separating Kaloff and Rick Spencer-Walt, it looks like Spencer-Walt gets the position, and Henry Kaloff is going to drive further back into the order. He's in 8th as it stands. Alec Daffin now going to be in 5th. Quarter of a second separating Daffin and Jordan Kuntz, that time by 2/100ths of a second quicker. So at this pace, maybe an opportunity to catch up to Jordan Kuntz by the time we head down to pit road. 40 laps in out of 100. So we've gotten almost up to that halfway marker. No cautions, no trouble. It's been a nice and easy race for the drivers up ahead. Maybe easy isn't the right way to describe it. However, it has not been a matter of losing time due to cautions and such, as it looks like Roger Seaver there going to get very, very slow and have to pick himself back up. It's been more a matter of if you have that pace lap after lap. You cannot make mistakes. Races like this. It's simply put, even if it's going to be a long-term race with drivers who, of course, everyone is susceptible to a flaw, anything major can really take you out of the groove. Quite literally, and if you lose that momentum, your car is going to start behaving differently. If you take a turn one way or another, burn up the tires, ruin your equipment, you've only got one chance to really reset it, so to speak. And if you don't take that chance properly, you're in even further trouble. Now down to the inside line, you're going to see it's going to be Alec Daffin working down and under the 46 lap marker. We've hit it, and Daffin gets right back up into 4th position. Jordan Kuntz is going to have to run up on the high side trying to keep that momentum. Don't think there's much else that can be done. Daffin gets the lead of the battle. He's still in 4th, but he made up another spot here as we are anticipating our first pit stops of the day. Now it's going to be Jordan Kuntz looking up to the top side. Can't quite find a way around. Right on board with Kuntz here as he's looking for any avenue to get back by Daffin. Oh, and Jordan Kuntz is going to be in the wall quickly. There goes that battle, and it looks like the 48 gets away. So just like that, it looks like Alec Daffin has himself up in 4th, 47 laps in out of 100, making it up to 48. What a way it would be for Matthew Weeks to kick off the playoffs with his very first victory of the season. Looking good so far. Maybe a chance to pull it all together and get it done as he comes across the line this time through. It's going to be lap 49, and we are due to have everyone come down a pit road sooner than later, and it's looking to be even closer now with drivers wearing each other out, getting into battles, seeing the tires continue to get that damage on them. Can't wait for now. Of course, just moments away from pit stops here in the Lone Star State. You're watching the Impact Sim Design 150, and it looks like Matthew Weeks, the dominant man from the pole. So now, the number 11 of Matthew Weeks keeps himself up in the front and holds his own. And there was no real competition up ahead. The big moment of truth will be the pit stops here. He's gotten up to lap 50, and now he's got Chris Tripp, Kyle Jackson battling further on back. These are not drivers in jeopardy of going one lap down. However, that might become a conversation by the end of lap 100. So keep your eyes peeled in the later portion of this event. Henry Kaloff, first man down a pit road, and he will come in at the end of lap number 49 for his run as Matthew Weeks is set to come through and make it by to get to the second half of this race. Pit road getting busy at the line. Weeks is going to get to the halfway marker. 50 laps to go, and now the leaders are dropping in. There goes Jordan Kuntz. There goes Rick Spencer-Walt spinning. It's a half spin. He'll keep it together, and we will stay green as Spencer-Walt gets going once again. Henry Kaloff now going to get back to where he's going to, hope to be on the racing surface. Jordan Kuntz gets down and in, and he's going to beat all of his competitors down a pit road as Matthew Weeks decides to stay out a little bit longer. Now the pit cycle on its way, and it's going to be the battle between those drivers who choose to stay out and those of which who decide it's best to go in early and get it all over with. And it's going to be a big division and strategy here as you see a big bundle. It's Asbell, it's Jackson, it's Connor, of course Asbell with James Bowden, and also going to look at it with Chris Tripp. There's the 72 going up high. It looks like Connor not going to have it up there as James Bowden moves up a spot, and now David Tooker down and in with Vinny Tigner. It's going to be 2, 3, 4 with Alec Daffin making its move in as well, and that's going to move Trey Holmes up to second, and the rest of the field cycling and shuffling as we speak. Matthew Weeks in a very firm position to go all the way here and rather go longer than anyone else. He's not going to go 100 laps. However, he will, on the exit of his next pit stop, not have to worry about pit road for the rest of the race. I think that's going to be the most important thing right now for Matthew, knowing that he's got the peace of mind to not have to look at pit road ever again and not have to worry about getting it a little bit more topped off as Trey Holmes hits the pit road barrier and Jackson Van Pelt does as well. We've got a shuffle. Drivers are coming in and it's chaos here as Van Pelt backs up and almost hits Chris Tripp. Oh, we had two incidents at once. Green flag stays out because it's on pit road. But either way, calamity and two independent incidents. Here's a look once again. And it looks like it's going to cut the view off as you see the drivers who dove in and everyone coming through. By this point, there's already trouble. Take a look with your eye in the sky and you're going to see what got Trey Holmes going, because it looks like Trey Holmes goes through. Then Jackson Van Pelt comes in, decides to try and avoid it, and that's going to be the trouble. One more time on board this through with Jackson Van Pelt. And getting away from a spinning Trey Holmes, it's going to be ending up as the spinner himself. Jackson Van Pelt gets on the way and right now finds himself rolling in 13th, one lap down as many drivers are in the field, as James Bowden, your race leader, is going to be passed soon by Matthew Weeks. Weeks is going to find himself overtaken. It's David Tooker to the points. Tooker, the rookie, in his very first race, is up to the top of the board with 45 laps to go, and all of a sudden, it's a brand new driver, maybe one of our one-and-dones, of course, his very first race is here and now, taking the lead, and the full-time curse might still be in effect. That remains to be seen, though, because with 45 to go, it's still a long way from the checkered flag, but wouldn't it be something for the playoffs to be opened up by a driver who has never raced in this series before, and now making his very first start is the quickest man with 44 laps left. For David Tooker, he's getting the opportunity for the very first time to step into the SNT action, and you could as well. We'd like to thank iRacing Motorsport Simulations for providing the highest quality online simulator for over 15 years now. For membership discounts, memberships 3 months or longer, check out iRacing.com for more information and scan the QR code at the bottom of your screen right now for information about the eNASCAR scene at the official eNASCAR newsletter. For more info about how to get into the highest level of online sim racing, check out the eNASCAR newsletter and visit iRacing.com after tonight's broadcast. We'll be right back after a brief message from our friends at iRacing Motorsport Simulation.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
40 laps remaining. David Tooker, Matthew Weeks battling for the lead. If you've just tuned in live on FTN, you are watching the Impact Sim Designs 150, and the battle for the lead is the closest it's been all night long. It's our playoff opener, and right now a rookie first-time driver leads the way, and he's approaching an onslaught of lapped traffic. Watch out, it's the number 16 down to the bottom side and taking the lead in through 1 and 2. David Tooker. How about this number 16? Found himself up in front in his very first opportunity, and he has come knocking very, very fast, and he might be one of the best in the business here if he just keeps on going with this pace at other intermediates on the schedule. He's still got a couple left, and it looks like he's going to have a great first impression as he's already up there leading laps, and now Matthew Weeks is trying to take that away. Down to the bottom side, Weeks hoping to get back to his dominant streak, goes right under, and it's Matthew to the point. He's going to get about 1/10 of a second right then and there. Nice move for Matthew Weeks. He gets the jump and pulls himself back to the race lead. 38 laps to go. It's the number 11. Now, up in front. Now going to be an opportunity to pull away for Weeks. Maybe he's worn himself out pushing David Tooker, or vice versa. It could be Tooker with trouble, given how hard he was racing to keep the lead. It might now be Matthew Weeks hoping to break away and, of course, break the full-time curse. It looks like this season, with the exception of Vinny Tigner and Jordan Kuntz, no other full-time drivers had any opportunity to break into the wins category. That could change tonight. Maybe it's due to change if Matthew Weeks makes it through and gets the checkered flag. Of course, 37 laps to go. Going to come down to 36. He's several seconds ahead of Vinny Tigner and Jordan Kuntz, respectively. We're battling each other as we speak. So maybe an opportunity for the podium to be shuffled out, as it looks like Kenneth Grail with a little bit of trouble. He will be coming down and in. And is he going to be out of control? It looks like no, just another pit stop. And he's on the two-stop strategy. He's playing it very safe tonight, and it looks like it's worked out for him so far. He will be in contention, I think, at the bottom half of the top 10 for the rest of the night. Now Jordan Kuntz going to be with Vinny Tigner. 2/10 remain between Tigner and Kuntz here. Coming through, it looks like now Vinny with the edge and Jordan Kuntz out of the podium. Vinny Tigner having a great opening night in the playoffs, and if he wants to jump up to the overall lead, this would be a great opportunity for him to do so, especially given the fact he has bonus points and he came into the night second. Not tied with anyone, he was second exclusively. There are only 2 drivers with bonus points coming in. Jordan Kuntz, who had the most of which, and Vinny Tigner, who had 5 extra points. Everyone else was tied at a base number, which meant that it was a 3-way tie. No, it was a 10-way tie for third. A 10-way tie. So everyone came in on very close footing as a result, and now might be a chance to break out for Matthew Weeks. He's left David Tooker a few tenths back, and now Weeks is up there and on his own. Is set to come around this time by to make it 33 laps remaining at the stripe. One more time, it's going to be Matthew Weeks pulling through, and he gets another lap dialed in again. So far for Matthew Weeks, in very good company. Of course, Lap Machine's going to help him buffer out the lead. Henry Kaloff now going to be fighting with Jackson Van Pelt, and he's in jeopardy going 1 lap down. So it has to be a quick move here for Henry Kaloff. He's got your leader in the rearview mirror, and he's got Jackson Van Pelt right up in front in the windshield. So he's going to be with all of the action all at once. Going down to the inside here, it's going to be a nice dive right under Van Pelt. He has no choice but to be forced up to the middle. And the bottom side, all Henry Kaloff. He's got just enough a run to go through once down under. He will try and slide low. Can't quite get it there that time by. And the 63 decides to go a little further back and going to back himself up once more. As it looks like right now, everyone settles in. Nice long run to the end, no caution so far, 69 laps in, and a nice lead for Matthew Weeks as he comes up across the leaders and the lappers alike. He got by David Tooker, and that was the last big step to getting the advantage again. Now, here comes Henry Kaloff and Jackson Van Pelt. Also going to be Roger Seaver there in the way. Another lapper. And it looks like the traffic going to play a bigger role than ever before. How will we ride on board here with Matthew Weeks and see exactly how he navigates the traffic? Looks like Weeks right now not having to get up to these drivers. It looks like actually some of these guys on new rubber, if not slightly newer rubber than that of our leader, Roger Seaver there in particular, on a 9-lap stint. So he has an advantage here, and it is evident given the fact that right now Weeks not really making all too much time up. So 29 laps to go. Won't have to worry about dealing with the lappers yet as Chris Tripp goes up high. He's with Kyle Jackson, and it looks like Connor Asbell there too. Connor going to go down to the bottom groove. It's going to be now the number 72 looking for a spot. Chris Tripp holding himself up high. He's going to try to keep that position here, but it's not going to be easy. There it goes, right down low. Connor Asbell, and he is still right there. 73 laps in out of 100. It's a nice move down to the bottom side, looking low and hoping to keep himself there. Connor, if he can just stay on that lower groove, should have the advantage in 1 and 2 eventually. And having that lead, it means a very big deal when it comes to getting these passes. Of course, lunging down to the bottom side, that almost makes all the difference. So it looks like now for Connor Asbell, he lies back a little bit further, and Jackson Van Pelt goes to battle again. He's right there with Henry Kaloff. Kaloff, he's definitely losing time also, and it looks like indeed Matthew Weeks getting closer. There goes Roger, so no buffer. It's going to be head-to-head Henry Kaloff and your leader in Matthew Weeks. Kyle Jackson right here with Jackson Van Pelt, and now it's going to be a 3-car gaggle. What can they do with the leader of this race coming right up? That's a pretty big question. 26 laps to go this time by, and as they fight each other for position, it's going to be the fight to get away from the lappers here for Matthew Weeks. He does not want David Tooker to get back in and have a chance at the race lead again. Matthew right now in a really good spot to settle in, but he does not want to be held up. Coming through this time by, 26 laps to go. It's going to be down to 25. Jackson ever so slightly in the wall, and looks like up top, Weeks is going to go again. He's got a side-by-side fight still to look at, and Henry Kaloff right there too. So he's going to be all buffered up while David Tooker has a chance to come in. Coming through once more. David Tooker has not gained, as a matter of fact, and now with Kyle Jackson put 1 lap down, you can see Matthew Weeks in a good spot here, but so far hasn't done it quite as much as he needs to fully get out of this hornet's nest. Coming down the back straightaway this time by, the 24 lap to go signal out, and we are in the home stretch. Weeks still there in the middle of this bubble. He's got Kaloff and Jackson Van Pelt to worry about, but it's only going to be for a few laps time. He does look to be quicker, and he's gotten up here to this point. Now only 2 more drivers to get by. 23 laps to go this time by, and next time through with 22 laps to go, we're going to crank it up with the best camera partner on the iRacing market, TrackCams22.com. For over 100 car and track options on their platform, check out TrackCams22.com for the highest quality broadcast cameras in all of iRacing, and join the leading iRacing broadcasters who use this camera product for each and every event. Let's crank it up with 22 laps to go, courtesy of our friends at TrackCams22.com. Matthew Weeks up ahead of David Tooker. It's a 1-2 combo that's remained the same ever since about lap 60 here. Lap 85 we're on, so it goes to show Matthew Weeks has held his own, and now with some lappers buffering, they're still fighting each other, and David Tooker's hardly in the frame. If you take a look, he's the white number 16 all the way at the backside. It currently is going to be Jackson Van Pelt right there with Henry Kaloff and Kyle Jackson, and these three have been very close all throughout. 15 laps to go this time by. Matthew Weeks finds himself up and ahead, and right now for the number 11, it looks like he's just got to hold his own for 15 more laps. He's been very, very good at keeping himself with the tire wear today, unlike any other, and it looks like Old Tex is very much suiting his style of racing. And in one way, I think it all comes down to the ability for Matthew Weeks to run so well at tracks like Michigan and Auto Club. You can see right now for Weeks, he finds himself, of course, up in front by 2 seconds. The pavement at this circuit, maybe a little more reminiscent of Auto Club and Michigan. It's defined, it's aged, it's had its wear and tear, and right now, I think that's what's given Weeks such an advantage. 14 laps to go, coming to a baker's dozen. A very nice position, and I think his preferred type of track maybe coming back in a little bit of a way because it's a fast intermediate here. We're seeing 29-second laps when we were at our best in tires, 33 laps on this stint, and for the JV Designs, number 11 still running in the 30-second bracket, and very few drivers able to do that, all the while Jackson Van Pelt still fighting. Take a look on board now with the driver, the 92, Kyle Jackson, watching the battle progress. Jackson maybe pulling a little bit further away everyone is from him, but he's got a great view of what's going to happen here with Jackson Van Pelt and Henry Kaloff. Kaloff right now still going to be in the single digits, so he's up 2 on his qualifying position. All the while, Jackson Van Pelt, who's currently going to find himself in 10th, not quite the race he wanted, and from 4th down to 10th, definitely not making too big of those moves. Of the drivers who were inside the playoffs, of course, the biggest mover would have to be Chris Tripp from 12th to 7th, and Van Pelt still trying to take a spot away, but he's going to get blocked by that CB fabricating back bumper time and time once more. At the line this time through, Matthew Weeks brings it down to 10 laps to go, and Texas tonight has been nothing short of strategy. It's not been down to cautions. We haven't seen any so far in the day. It's not been down to crazy incidents. We've only seen one driver retire in Trey Holmes. It's all been about that consistency and working with the tires and such. 10 to go this time by, and I think for Matthew Weeks right now, the only thing he's really got to worry about is exactly what he does as he comes across the line each and every time through hitting his marks. That is the most important deal. Right now, it looks like he's doing exactly that again. As it stands, still going to be Weeks up ahead, and still going to be Jackson Van Pelt and Henry Kaloff bringing the action. And it looks like now Kyle Jackson slowly but surely pulling right back in. You can see there that number 92 right in the middle groove, and Van Pelt is there in 10th. 9 laps to go this time by. You can see Henry Kaloff defending both drivers at once, and he's done so very well. That's the only battle. Everyone else really running in their own world. David Tooker a few seconds behind the lappers. He's in 2nd himself. Vinny Tigner in 3rd to round out the podium. Jordan Kuntz in 4th. A little bit of an off day for this team. It looked so quick until Matthew Weeks was battling with them, and that's really what changed things here as they're beating and banging fenders. The 63 right up high. There goes Jackson Van Pelt. It's now the number 07 looking low again, and Henry Kaloff, there he goes, trying to get the lead once more. It's close, and it has stayed close, but it looks like Van Pelt now trying to find that opening. Alec Daffin approaching course, 99 right up ahead. That would be Jordan Kuntz. And right now, Alec making those moves to try to slice back in. He's about half a second away. We'll keep an eye on that as we keep an eye on the lappers here. Even though they're not on the lead lap, this is a battle in the championship race between 3 playoff drivers. They are part of this championship hunt. And right now, for the 07, he's going to look down low again, trying to make something happen. And while he is just about where he needs to be, he just needs to find that place to cut right under and make it all work out. 6 laps to go, this time by Kyle Jackson now looking underneath Jackson Van Pelt, and it's now going to be Kyle taking it low. Can do something here. It looks like he's got a shot. The bottom side working so well for passes. And take a look at that. The 92, he is there. Kaloff still holding them both off, and it has not been easy. If you look off the back bumper, it'll, of course, become much clearer what he's dealing with. Looks like now, side by side, Jackson Van Pelt is with Kaloff. Make it 4 laps to go. As we come across the line this time, it looks like Kaloff no longer with that much of an advantage. The 63, he holds his own on the low side, and it's Jackson Van Pelt right up top. Jackson takes the spot, and now David Tooker gets involved. The lap machines are now going to have to face off with your second place driver, as David's going to take one away, and Kyle Jackson effectively removed from the battle by force. 0.3 of a second away. Alec Daffin is gaining, and he is gaining fast. Now it could be a battle at the line for 4th as drivers come through again. 98 laps in, 3 laps to go. It looks like Matthew Weeks is now going to have the back straightaway until we hit the popsicle sticks, and he is absolutely exactly what he's needed to do all night long. His consistency unlike any other. He's the quickest driver on the track. He's running 30-second laps even still. And as we come across this time by, it's going to be those popsicle sticks we mentioned. 2 laps to go. Coming through with Matthew Weeks up ahead, working down the backstretch with Connor Asbell, only driver in sight. Not much for this number 11 to worry about here, as the other drivers in the field are still battling hard. We'll see Matthew Weeks take the white flag this time by, as the rest of the field decides to come through as well. 1 lap to go, the final lap of this race in Texas, and it is official. Now 4 more turns for Weeks, and the battle between Daffin and Jordan Kuntz closer than before. Alec Daffin now getting right under the number 99, and for Kuntz, there's not much he can do here. Side by side into 1, the 99 with a slight advantage, but it's not going to be enough as they come down the back straightaway. We'll follow this battle at the same time as the number 11, and Matthew Weeks, breaking the full-timers curse, will come across the stripe and win in Texas. At the line, side by side between Daffin and Kuntz. Alec down low, Jordan up top. Alec Daffin with a minor advantage. He will take the position and gets 4th by 11 thousandths at the line. Checkered flag is out. Daffin barely steals 4th, and Matthew Weeks dominates to win. Results tonight go as follows. Weeks will win from rookie David Tooker, and 3rd is Vinny Tigner to round out the podium. It'll be Alec Daffin 4th and Jordan Kuntz 5th, with Rick Spencer Walt 6th, Connor Asbell 7th, Chris Tripp 8th, Jackson Van Pelt 9th, and Kyle Jackson rounding out the top 10. 11th is Henry Kaloff, with 12th James Bowden, 13th is Kenneth Gorell, and Tyler Seaver is there in 14th, with Roger Seaver 15th, Ray Holmes 16th, and last. Weeks burns down the house here in Texas. Matthew Weeks at a standstill now as David Tooker comes across the line, and it looks like that number 11 in concluding a celebration Of course, waiting for this victory. It's been a long time coming, and tonight it comes to be. Checkered flag is out as Weeks gets it done. Dominance, if you look around the racing circuit, nobody with them in the final moments of this event. And going to get a word from your race winner tonight, Matthew Weeks, the driver that gets it done. And how about we talk to him first here, your winner in the number 11, Matthew Weeks, the man to speak to. We'll have David Tooker right after the fact, and of course, Vinny Tigner rounding out the top three. But first, breaking what we call the full-time curse, Matthew Weeks tonight. You had the pole, and you had the most laps led. Everything went just right for this team. How are you feeling collecting the checkered flag?
I feel good, especially here. It's one of my tracks I've kind of really figured out. So to win a race here and my first one of the season and doing it in that fashion it felt pretty good, man. We were really fast tonight, blah.
And it looks like tonight, rapid fast from the jump, qualifying, getting the advantage, and it looked like as soon as you started putting the power down to that lap 20, 25, this team came alive. Of course, you and David Tooker coming through first and second. We don't have David right now in the waiting room, but he put on a hell of a race as well. Both of you showing up and showing out. What was it like having to push back to get the lead?
I was surprised that we beat everyone else off of pit road because they pitted a couple laps before us, so I figured the pace difference, they would have jumped us. But when I come out there and I just seen Tooker, I was like, okay, I'm just going to back off, save a little bit of tires for a couple laps, and then push because we were so close. And I had, I think, a 2-lap advantage on them with the better tires. And I knew I was better on the long run. So I just waited just a little bit before I actually got by him. And then once I got by him, I was just set a good rhythm, try to run constant, consistent laps, and be smooth to the end there.
And it looks like consistency is key tonight. The number 11 team pulling through for a long-awaited win. Something we mentioned, this is old Texas. Doesn't drive the same as new Texas. It has a little bit more of that worn-out style of pavement, which we've seen you very good at tracks like Michigan and Auto Club and the like. You think there's any similarities to those tracks that really help you here? Because it seems like we've seen New Texas before in this league, but a completely different animal. You became here controlling the race from start to finish.
Yeah, I think the older pavement kind of stuff where you actually got to save a little bit more tire, and the tires where I'm way better at it. I think I'm probably one of the better guys at saving tires, in my opinion, especially when we get long runs in this league, man. I just feel like it fits me. So when we come to tracks like this, I always think I'm going to run, really good, top three, probably have a chance to win here and there.
Getting this win so early in the championship standings, a huge deal as the round of 12 moves on to Nashville up next. What's it going to take to succeed there as we're going to move on to Music City?
Probably just be consistent. I haven't raced Nashville in a while, so I don't know how much tires wear now there or not. So hopefully it's kind of similar with some good tire wear and we get some good racing. But I do love that track, so hopefully we have a good one and have another really good finish.
And looking to have another great run to the end. Matthew Weeks getting it done tonight and pulling through for the victory. If you have any final shout-outs, make sure to let us know.
Yeah, shout out to you doing the broadcast. Shout out to Vinny and them. They let my friend Tooker join tonight, which is a long friend of mine for like 12 years, and we were teammates in other leagues. And so shout out to him for showing out tonight and being really fast like he usually is, man. He's a good guy and he's fast. Shout out to everyone that showed up tonight. It was a good race, long 100 laps, good racing. Everyone that watched, all the Pro Edge guys that that cheer me on and give me help here and there, and yeah, man.
Just like that, getting the checkered flag, Matthew Weeks. We thank you for your time.
All right, man. Thank you. You have a good one.
Weeks on the way. Time to speak to the rookie who made a very, very impressive debut. How about David Tooker? Up to second on a very, very first start for this team. Number 16, first and second night with Matthew Weeks and a runner-up finish. A very impressive night to kick off your S&T career. David, how you feeling?
Feeling pretty good. I knew the strat right there at the end was going to be trying to do the undercut on pit road, which really closed the gap right at the start. But I knew once Weeks got out right behind me, he was within a second. I knew I was chalked right then and there. He has such incredible long run pace. I've known him for 10 plus years, and that's kind of what he's known for around these league races, is being able to save tire and really strong on the long run. Which, I felt like we had decent pace throughout the entire race, especially that first stint. I knew we were looking good. I just had to maintain the gap to Weeks, but he kicked on another level at that second stint. And honestly, being a part of this for the first start, I'm very impressed with these guys. I run a lot of league races with a lot of talent, and this one definitely has that. But one thing we do see is a lot of cautions in these other leagues, but there was no cautions tonight, which is really awesome. Really cool to really get a long complete run in. I've never done a league race where it went flag to flag with no cautions. So for the first start ever here, this has been a pretty fun one.
And an exciting race to bring in this number 16 to the SNT field. What was it like? Well, 100 laps and no cautions, of course. Really no breaks in the action from the start.
Really just one thing, yeah, like you said, just not really used to it. I'm used to running leagues where we have at least 2 or 3 cautions a race, but going flag to flag like this, it was definitely a little bit more of a physical aspect than I was expecting. But no, it was a blast. I love long green flag runs. It's one of the things I definitely need to work on. If I'm going to be competing with Weeks, he's got me covered on long run pace right now, so I'm going to have to figure something out. But really happy with the first start with these guys, and just proud to be a part of this, and I want to thank them for the opportunity to come run with them.
Getting going for the very first time, David Tooker, second place here in the Lone Star State. If you have any more shout-outs, the stage is yours.
Yeah, everybody, it's Saturday Night Thunder. I know haven't got a chance to meet everybody yet, obviously. I joined mid-practice with about 20 minutes left and went straight into the race, so didn't really get to meet anybody, but had fun racing up front with Vinny and Alec and Jordan as well. We had some great racing up there. A couple close moments, but that's kind of what you expect. There's a lot of talent in here. Also Trey Holmes, he didn't get quite the run he was expecting, but I know he's really quick. And also shout out to Matthew for getting me in here and letting me be a part of this. This is a really fun night, and I'm looking forward to be coming back and racing with these guys once again.
Hope to see you back at Nashville come next week. David Tooker, thank you for stopping by.
Thank you.
And with Tooker on the way, final driver in the podium tonight, Vinny Tigner rounding up in the top 3, and a great run for the 12 team, pulling through for a podium here in the Impact Sim Designed 150. Tigner, how you feeling in first podium in the playoffs?
It feels great, David. It's always good to talk to you, man. It's been a while. Yeah, I had a decent run there. Didn't really know what to expect. With the custom setup, I just want to give a shout out to Carter and Rick for building this set. I thought it was great, and it seemed like people enjoyed it. It was tough, obviously, for some, but seemed pretty fun, and I had a good time out there. I had to learn on the fly, and it started to come to me. I figured out a couple corners here and there, and put them all together, and had some speed.
And it looks like the speed was there from the jump for the 12 team. And tonight, it was all about non-stop racing. 1 pit stop overall. And I'll tell you this much, for this team, it looks like coming alive in that later stint to make it by Daffin and Kuntz and clearly keep that 3rd spot. So what was it like about the, of course, 100-lap race we had where you just had to learn for every lap we had?
Yeah, early on, as soon as the green flag dropped, I just took it easy. Jordan drove right by us, and I just figured, just normal. He always goes to the front, and but I just wanted to save some tires, and Jackson Van Pell, I think, was in front of me, and I was just letting him ride. I could tell he was pushing, and then I finally started to go on it there around like lap 20, 25, and I started passing guys, and it's not very often when you get around Jordan Kuntz and Alec Daffin, so I knew what I was doing was right. It was working for me. So then that first green flag pit stop there, it was just, and I was trying to strategize if I wanted to undercut it, or just run it long, and I didn't really. I wanted to play it safe and just kind of split it. I think once David, I think David was in front of me at the time, and he when he pitted there, he got sideways, and I already slowed up, so I just kind of answered it for me that I was just going to pit right then and there, and worked out though. Came back out in 3rd, I think, and ran there for the rest of the race, so can't complain.
And keeping yourself consistent from start to finish, it's Nashville up next for the second race of the playoffs. You think there's a chance of success there?
Yeah, ran my first race there, I think in the Integrity League. So that wasn't that long ago, and I ran really good there. So I'm pretty confident actually. I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, ready for it.
And hoping to, of course, keep that success. We saw you there on Monday nights very quick. Maybe a chance to do so once again. Vinny Tigner, any final shout-outs you'd like to make?
Yeah, of course. Want to thank you for broadcasting. Thank you to anybody that tuned in tonight to watch. And I want to give it a shout out to James Harris with Impact Sim Designs. If anybody needs a paint scheme made, he's the guy. He's really good. So yeah, just thank you to everybody.
And there we have it. Vinny Tigner rounding out the podium here in Texas. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
And with Vinny Tigner on the way, that will conclude our podium interviews for tonight's event. Tigner third, and it's David Tooker second, with Matthew Weeks collecting the checkered flag. All things considered, we're excited to come back to the racing next week at the Nashville Superspeedway. We hope you stay tuned with us, as we'll next be live on FTN on Monday night with the Integrity Ignite Series. This is an exclusive presentation of the Saturday Night Thunder Grand National Series, and you've been watching the Impact Sim Designs 150 at the virtual Texas Motors. I've been David Kreutz, your commentator and producer for tonight's event. We hope you enjoyed tonight's coverage live on FTN. If you did, make sure to leave a like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. Your support is always greatly appreciated. Thank you all for watching our coverage of the Impact Sim Designs 150. We hope you have a fantastic night.